Hi, everybody, and welcome to City Beat. I'm Nancy Byrne, and we're coming to you from the KCLV TV studios. You know, you don't have to live in northern Nevada or California to experience the devastation associated with the wildfires there. You need only walk outside your house to realize you can't see the beautiful mountains surrounding our city. You can only see smoke, haze, and smell smoke. Well, this is the time that you often see the brotherhood and sisterhood of firefighting jump into action. Recently, a large crew of firefighters from across southern Nevada headed north on the highway to give some relief to the exhausted and stretched departments up north. And it was only appropriate that they left on September 11th, the anniversary of a day that will always symbolize great loss and incredible bravery. Looking up into our Las Vegas skies, the sun's red glow through the thick smoke is the telltale sign that fires are raging not too far from home. Up in the Reno area, the Davis fire, which started Saturday, September 7th, had consumed nearly 6,000 acres in less than a week, putting excessive strain on the fire departments in northern Nevada and prompting all the southern Nevada fire departments to step up and offer relief. Las Vegas Fire and Rescue, Clark County, North Las Vegas, and Henderson. Las Vegas Fire Chief Fernando Gray explained the role our 2 engines and 8 firefighters will play in Reno.
Their role will be specifically related to providing a backfill for Reno fire stations. So again, they'll be responding to medical calls, structure fires, but they won't be directly going to the Davis fire.
With that area's firefighters experienced in battling wildfires, the Southern Nevada contingent will ensure their communities never have to go without other emergency services while they battle those fires.
One of the things we have to recognize is that they are actually being taxed to the extreme, meaning that their regular schedules, again, are being extended. So the support that is being provided by our members, again, is something that will allow them to be able to, again, focus on the Davis fire while the rest of the community can still receive the services that they need.
We're really going to be able to have an impact up there in the north. The last time we were able to go up there was just such a fantastic experience for our crews to go up there and be able to serve the community.
So as the group gathered and prepared for the 7 to 8 hour drive north to Reno, it's important to remember these firefighters, all volunteers by the way, knew they'd be leaving behind their families and responsibilities here at home, all in the name of teamwork.
I will say, as the fire chief, I'm really, really proud of our members for volunteering to go to assist. Keep in mind that they're going to be away from their families for a substantial amount of time. We anticipate this being about a 14-day or 21-day deployment. So again, just really kudos to them for the support that they're providing.
Chief Gray says he's proud, but he's not surprised at the staff's commitment.
Here in our region, in the Las Vegas Valley, we actually participate in automatic assistance. So regardless of the jurisdictional boundaries, again, we provide service based upon who can get there quickly. So at the end of the day, again, I feel like us going to the Reno area is just an extension of what we do on a day-to-day basis. Of course, we are all hoping and praying for the complete safety of everyone out there fighting those fires, and of course, for all the people who live in the area where the fires are happening. Well, let's stay on this bravery note a little bit longer. There is a park in our city that is dedicated to law enforcement. It's Police Memorial Park, and it is very popular and quite well used. So it came as no surprise that the city went to great lengths to let residents know it was going to have to close temporarily for a facelift. We headed up there and found out that the residents who used that park, well, they were less bothered by the closure and more excited about the park's future. Even on this day when neighbors were sufficiently informed Police Memorial Park would be closing temporarily, so many took advantage of the last few morning hours to get out and enjoy their favorite park.
Yeah, we get down here probably, I don't know, maybe 3-4 times a week. Just love the park. I mean, it's just so nice and green and so well kept. It's nice. They have all the police officer memorials over there too, so kind of take time to look through that every now and then, kind of look up a different officer and see what that's all about, so that's pretty cool.
My daughter attends the school here, the Challenger School, so I drop her off and then we walk for about 45 minutes, and then before I pick her up, we do another walk. So about twice a day.
They know from postings and other messaging from the city of Las Vegas, this beloved park will be shut down until May of 2025. But they also know it's for a good cause.
While it's going to be reasonably painful for neighbors who access this every day, pain leads to growth and progress, and we're so happy that in 8 months we'll be honoring the canines that have lost their lives in protection of all of us. Those canine officers will have a new memorial here, which is so wonderful.
Yes, part of the renovation and expansion, a memorial to the selfless and unconditionally devoted canines that have lost their lives working side by side with their partners. That will be part of the new and improved Police Memorial Park. The statue, already completed, is in storage awaiting its debut upon the park's reopening. Sam Tolman is an architect with the city of Las Vegas and tells us of other plans for the park.
We're adding more parking to both the south parking lot and the north parking lot. We're adding more pickleball courts. We're refurbishing some of the existing facilities. And we're also removing a lot of the grass that's not usable for the new standard, which will give us some rebate money back to help pay for the park.
There will be an expansion of the pickleball court area, of course. Other areas will be freshened up as well.
There's playground equipment. We have pickleball courts. We have basketball courts. We have skate park.
As for the police memorial area, well, it's not going anywhere. Outstanding news to those who've come to love that aspect of this park.
Actually, I enjoy walking through the police memorial. It's kind of a somber, quiet, peaceful experience when you walk through.
It's such a good opportunity to work with Metro in getting a place where they can honor those who've fallen and honor those who haven't.
And that's not going anywhere.
No, not going anywhere. It's just expanding.
For those that participated in last year's flag planting, we've ensured that the construction won't disturb that project. We're going to still have that next Memorial Day, and we invite the public to come join us plant the flags and come enjoy the 5,000 plus flags that we plant here at the park.
Once again, the park will reopen next May in time for the Memorial Day ceremonies that always take place out there. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, one of the things that makes a museum so great is its constant evolution. We're going to take you to our Mob Museum and tell you about a new exhibit out there. Stay tuned.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. 2 milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
The sad reality is fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kids should know.
Welcome back to City Beat from the KCLV TV studios. Are you looking for some history in Las Vegas? Well, look no farther than the Mob Museum, or the Museum of Law Enforcement and Organized Crime. It meticulously traces how the mob shaped our city and in many ways our country, but also how law enforcement responded to that crime and put the mobsters out of business. Can't make it to Las Vegas right now? Not to worry. There's a documentary you can check out that not only talks about the Mob Museum, but also the historic building in which it is housed. The Museum of Law Enforcement and Organized Crime is really a 2-for-1 for history buffs. The museum itself meticulously walks you through the history of the mob and how law enforcement stepped in and stomped it out. But as you stroll through the exhibits and artifacts, remember, you are strolling through a major piece of history in itself.
Keep in mind, it's really the only building like this in the city. And you know, if you go to Washington, D.C. or Philadelphia or someplace like that, there may be a dozen or 2 dozen or 3 dozen of these federal buildings that look like this. We have just one here. And it was special in Las Vegas in the 1930s and 40s and 50s because it became a community gathering place.
Jeff Schumacher, Vice President of Exhibits and Programs for the museum, says thanks in large part to the Centennial Commission, you can now see a documentary on this historic building that opened its doors in November of 1933.
So we talk about, you know, the origins of the building during the Great Depression, during Hoover Dam construction, and how it really precipitated the need for a federal building here. We talk about some of the great cases and hearings that were held in the courtroom. We talk about the post office and how it was such a vital part of the community. And then the evolution into the Mob Museum in the 21st century.
And going hand in hand with that documentary, there's a dedicated area in the museum where you can find some interesting artifacts and information backing up the program. This building of ours, the story of a Las Vegas landmark.
So we've had the opportunity to create a little exhibit here that helps guests to understand a little bit more about the building, which is really one of the great artifacts that we have when you think about it.
The building was a federal courthouse and post office, but more than that, it was a gathering place for the community.
The documentary and the exhibit both help you to understand how important this building was to this community. Keep in mind, it's really the only building like this in the city, and it was special in Las Vegas in the 1930s and 40s and 50s because it became a community gathering place. That's where people went for their mail, for one thing, but also all the other federal agencies were in here. So anything you needed to do during World War II, you know, with the war bonds and with the rationing, all of that happened here.
Schumacher pointed out some of the artifacts discovered while rehabilitating this building. The first item, this Prohibition-era liquor bottle found inside a wall. He loves this because of the questions it raises.
Because A, what's it doing there, right? Like, what, who on this construction crew had this bottle, and why did they hide it inside of this pillar? But to find it then just really was just a look back at the past, and it was a way to tie this building to that era. So it's a really cool item.
And his favorite item comes from the old post office.
One of the businesses that had a P.O. box here was Binion's Horseshoe on Fremont Street. And so what's interesting about this is the door for number 520. That was the Binion post office box. And we found that down on the first floor. We removed it and we placed it on display.
And in the post office box, a key that was likely taken by accident from the hotel by a guest and sent back thanks to the address engraved on the key ring. On the wall, you can read more about the people that graced these hallways, whether they worked in the post office or tried cases in the courthouse. All made this magnificent building more than brick and mortar. It was a member of the community and needs to be embraced for its history and contributions. That's why the documentary and this exhibit are here, to help tell that story.
This is a city that has some historic substance to it. And one of those great examples of that is this building. And so we really want to tell that story so people understand it's not just about the casinos, it's not just about, you know, the entertainment, although those things are important. It's also about the people here and about the institutions that formed this city.
The documentary could be seen right here on KCLV TV, but you can also see it on YouTube. Well, something synonymous with the Mob Museum, of course, is one of its visionaries, Mayor Oscar Goodman. And something synonymous with Mayor Oscar Goodman, of course, is showgirls. In fact, he would travel with showgirls across the globe to promote our great city. Recently, our Crystal Allen sat down with two of these young ladies to hear some of their travel stories. They are entertaining and, in many cases, heartwarming.
Wherever there's a Goodman, there's a showgirl.
Madame?
Yes, darling.
How are you? Good.
Boy, go see him. Yes. Go get him. He's the man. He's the man. Off with this. Off with this. Go, go, go.
Beneath the exquisite headpieces, extravagant feathers, and exuberant smiles, you'll find these two down-to-earth beauties.
It's been an amazing, amazing experience and, you know, the best memories of my life.
That's Portia Rivas, joined by her showgirl sister, Jennifer Audrey. They're part of a small group of about 10 showgirls who've served as glamorous ambassadors for the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, or LVCVA, and the city of Las Vegas. These two have flanked the sides of former Mayor Oscar Goodman and his better half, outgoing Mayor Carolyn Goodman, for 20 years.
They're a perfect role model of what marriage and family and just, you know, even caring about people. I just wanted thank him and Carolyn for always being so amazing.
The Showgirls have become a constant presence, a fixture at the Goodman's side for numerous events and ceremonies. Portia shed some light on how it all began. She said it started with a pink Cadillac, Elvis, and a magazine shoot.
We all piled in the Cadillac, and it was being, towed, so it gave the illusion that Oscar was driving. And so we were stuck in this Cadillac for a couple hours and talked and got to know each other. And he had mentioned that he was going to the baseball winter meetings in San Diego, like the following month. And he was trying to get a professional baseball team to Vegas. And so I was like, well, why don't you bring Showgirls with you? Because what better way to get attention than, having Showgirls? And he was like, you know what, that is a great idea.
Portia says the next month they all flew to San Diego. Mayor Oscar, the Showgirls, and Elvis. The media went wild.
And after that, he was like, I always have to have a showgirl with me. And then every event, we accompanied him, so.
So that was the inception.
That was yes. So yes, that's how that all started.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you can take some credit.
I take all the credit, girl. I do. I take the credit for starting that. I'm just teasing, but.
Portia and Jennifer say they never envisioned the opportunities that would follow.
I look back, I'm like, someone pinch me. Like, this doesn't even feel real, right? And I'm like, oh, who, me? I'm like, I get to go where? I get to do what? I'm like, and for some people, going to work is, I have to go to work. I get to go to work, and my work is so fun. I'm getting paid to have fun with my friends and go do amazing things.
The two have traveled the world, promoting the city, and have some colorful stories to prove it.
We were in London. I'm going to start laughing before I even say it. And we had dinner at a very nice hotel, restaurant, whatnot, and Oscar got the grouse.
Oh,
and it did not sit well with him. And the whole next day, he was grumpy about it. And Carolyn's all like, you Oscar the grouse. And because she blamed it on what he ate the night before.
It was true, and he got
I remember Oscar the grouse the whole, for the whole rest of the day, Oscar the grouse. Like, he get all, because who orders grouse?
Yes.
Very early on, these two say they learned a little something about the Goodmans.
They're just who they are all the time.
All the time. That is very true. There's never been.
So you're just seeing the authentic, real them all the time. They're just being them, which is amazing.
They also learned some valuable lessons about the couple, like their integrity.
Not to get political, but just anybody political. I don't care what side. They're saying a lot of words, but oftentimes there's nothing behind it. It's just a bunch of words. So I'm like going, you knew they meant what they said.
And their compassion.
Treated all of us like his daughters. If somebody spoke, bad of us or made a comment, he was always the first, to come to our defense. And the love that they give to everybody, and so much they just care about everyone. So, you just want to be a better person in their presence.
During their visit, our showgirls stopped by Spectacle of a Showgirl, a free exhibit in the Grand Gallery on the first floor of City Hall. It features iconic showgirl costumes from the Las Vegas Showgirl Museum and its head curator, Grant Filippo. When it comes to those elaborate costumes, our showgirls let us in on a couple secrets, like how long it takes to put on those headpieces.
If you have an hour, it takes you an hour. If you have 5 minutes, it takes you 5 minutes. I mean, we've been late for flights.
Yeah, you sometimes you don't have time, but you still pull it together.
Or the two items they rely on to look put together in a pinch.
The lipstick and the lashes, and you're like, okay, let's do it.
So that's the key. Lashes and red lipstick.
Lipstick and lashes. I'm like, and then you got it, you're done.
Although those iconic showgirl spectacles no longer grace the stages of Las Vegas, these two say,
for a lot of people, they're like, oh, the showgirls are extinct. But we're not. We're still here.
The showgirls are definitely here to stay.
Thank you, Crystal Allen, for that story. We're going to take another break, and when we return, we are going to remember 9/11 as we talk to a father who lost a son on that day, and we see how Las Vegas Fire and Rescue every year honors all of the firefighters by promising to never forget.
You think you've had a bad ride-share experience? Even the worst ride-share would be better than one of ours. But if you drive after drinking or consuming cannabis, this is the ride you're gonna get. Plan a ride, or law enforcement will pick you up. But at least you won't need to tip your driver. 0 fatalities. Lives are on the line. paid for by the Nevada Departments of Public Safety and Transportation.
Congratulations to the City of Las Vegas Employee of the Month, Zach Bucher. Zach is a longtime employee with the city, but recently moved to Government and Community Affairs. Several years ago, he met Las Vegas citizen and World War II veteran Onofrio Nono Zakari. Nono is one of the thousands who stormed Omaha Beach at Normandy on D-Day 80 years ago. June 6th of 1944. Zach was a key component in Nono receiving a long overdue Purple Heart and being recognized by the City Council. Nono is now 101 years old and this year received an invitation to return to Omaha Beach with other survivors for the 80th anniversary of the D-Day invasion. He wanted to go, but would need a caretaker to go with him to help with the extensive travel schedule. Sadly, there was no one to support him on this pilgrimage. That is, when Zach stepped up and offered to go as his chaperone. It was a selfless act by Zach, who has a wife, job, and responsibilities here, but wanted to make sure this man could achieve this dream. While there, he became Nono's public information officer, helping to organize interviews with the many journalists who wanted to talk with this rare survivor who attended the ceremony all the way from Las Vegas, Nevada. Zach demonstrated that each of our citizens is special, and we should strive to help in any way we can. Congratulations to Zach Bucher, City of Las Vegas Employee of the Month. Welcome back to City Beat. You know, it is really hard to believe it's been 23 years since our nation was attacked on 9/11. Sadly, there are a lot of people that don't need ceremonies to remember the loss of a loved one. One of those people is Paul Geidel. He lives in Southern Nevada. His son, Gary, was just days away from retiring from the New York City Fire Department when those jets hit those towers. And Paul Geidel tells us even with his lifelong experience in the fire department, nothing will ever compare to those days, weeks, and years that followed. He sat down to tell us his story and his son's story 10 years ago. We felt like it bears repeating.
These images of September 11th, 2001 are so horrifying even now, more than a decade later. Two hijacked jets bring down two mighty buildings of concrete and steel, crumbling them to the ground. Now imagine watching this unfold, knowing it's very likely you have a loved one inside.
My two boys that were still on the fire department at the time. One working in, both of them working in Rescue Company 1. They were both off that day. Gary was called in for overtime. He had 4 more tours to work before he retired. Then the following day, on the 12th, I showed up at the Trade Center with my 2 boys. And my one son, Ralph, retired, and my son, Michael, current firefighter. From then on, we worked for the next 8.5 months, bringing people home, but we never did find Gary. Every rescue rig from the city of New York, one in each borough, that responded, all the personnel were killed.
Paul, his son Ralph, both of whom are retired from the New York City Fire Department, and Paul's other son Michael, who is still in the fire department, were part of the dedicated team that carried out the grim process of recovery.
A lot of the firefighters I worked with were retired dads, and every one of us were looking for our sons. It was called the Band of Dads. Actually, you go on a computer, you look up the Band of Dads, you see us all on there. And, you know, we became like a family. And we were there every day, every night, looking for bringing people home.
They were captured in a couple of books from well-known photographers Joel Meyerowitz and Gary Susan.
John Vigiano, he lost both his boys, his only 2 boys. His only 2 boys, one was a cop, one a firefighter. We found the cop, not the firefighter.
Paul and his boys are seen throughout the books as well, and his sons are on the cover of one of them. But it was while Paul was going through some of the other pieces he collected in his 8.5 months at Ground Zero that you truly realize those killed on this day were simply people who showed up to do their job in the towers and then, of course, later in the rescue effort.
This is a key that I recovered from the Trade Center.
So that must have been, to somebody's desk, right? Oh.
Yeah, it says World Trade Center on it. But it has dirt in the grooves. And I never took the dirt out, figuring maybe it's my son's ashes. That's why I saved it.
A memorial for Gary was finally held on August 21st, 2002. And the couple doesn't let a September 11th go by without attending a memorial service, this one in Las Vegas. They remember a son who, after 20 years in fire service, was about to retire in a matter of days. But when the call came, he answered. And like so many others, he answered with his life.
It's something that rips your heart apart, and you never forget it. And sometimes maybe if it drifts away from your memory, there's always something that reminds you of it. And it's just a tragedy I wish on anybody. I wish it never happened to anybody.
The city of Las Vegas has vowed to never forget September 11th, and that is why every September 11th, early in the morning, around the time that the first jet hit the towers, that's when they hold a ceremony at Las Vegas Fire and Rescue Station 5. At that ceremony, there is the tolling of the bells, a flag that was a gift from New York City Fire Department that once flew over Ground Zero is raised, and a retired New York City firefighter sings the national anthem. We take you to that ceremony as we say farewell. We'll see you for the next City Beat.
All stations, all units. The tolling of the bell is in remembrance of all the people that died on September the 11th, 2001, and especially the 343 firefighters of FDNY.
Underground and all your personnel. Present. On.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Find out what's going on all over the city of Las Vegas by subscribing to the City Beat e-newsletter. Simply scan this QR code to get a preview of each show twice a month.